Football at that time was my idol because that's what I was taught to. That's what people knew me as, Trent Shelton, the football player. When you get to the NFL and you're expected to be drafted, I was expected to go 4th and 5th round, and you're sitting there watching the TV and your name isn't called. It takes away your confidence. And at that time, I became angry at God. And I felt like that was the moment where my life just really started spiraling downhill.
New day, new goals, let's own it. I'm back in New York City. Energy is flowing. And you know what? It's a gloomy day, but that's Gotham City. We're getting ready to head over to HarperCollins to meet up with one of the most sought after conscious leaders of our generation. I love his content. I'm talking about Trent Shelton. And you may know of his story, ex-NFL. He ended up finding out the NFL really stands for not for long. He was lost. He didn't know what his purpose was. And we're gonna get into how he became a viral sensation. He created something called Rehab Time. And you know what? Through documenting that journey, he ended up going viral, reaching 50 million people per month on social media, documenting his journey and truly helping people overcome depression, all types of mental illness, but most importantly, stopping a lot of people from committing suicide.
Breakdowns happen right before breakthroughs. So I pray you break that cycle that's trying to break you. I pray you kill those thoughts that are trying to kill you. No mistake is too great as long as you forgive you.
I mean, he has such a huge heart, but he didn't ever think that this was going to be part of his journey. Being a leader, speaking on stages all over the world, writing this book that we're about to talk about, The Greatest You. So we're going to get into how did he do it? And a lot of it wasn't with high production, using his phone, literally just speaking from the heart. But he has some strategies that I want to really get into and then understand this entire story. So let's go and meet up with the one and only conscious leader, Trent Shelton. Let's go. Trent Shelton. I mean, I'm super excited because, to be honest, I'm excited because he's someone of color that is really making a big difference in the world, that is using his voice, his message, his story. For me, it's never about race or religion or sexuality or your spiritual beliefs, but I really do want to find conscious leaders and people that are using their story from all different ethnicities and backgrounds. And I think it's just really important for culture. So, what Trent is doing, I think, will relate to a lot of people that are suffering, that may look like him, that may, not otherwise listen to someone else out there in the world that is doing this type of content, So, people like Trent, Prince, EA, Jay Shetty, these people are making such a major difference in the world, and the fact that we're starting to see these kind of thought leaders go viral online and build their own platforms is exactly, what makes social media so powerful. Hello. Hi. I am here for an interview. All right, thank you. Morning. I just got the HarperCollins, guys. I'm stoked. I'll be seeing Trent in about a half hour. Just preparing. I love HarperCollins though, especially because we came here and filmed John Maxwell. And I think one of the things that's interesting about Trent is he talks about that, growing up he never thought that he would be an author or a speaker. He didn't grow up saying oh, I want to become an author or a speaker. He grew up wanting to become an NFL player. So when his dreams, got come crashing down, and he gets cut from the Colts, he gets cut from the Redskins, Seattle, and then all of a sudden, he gets injured. Little did he know that just by him documenting his journey, for himself, rehab time, #rehab time, that would end up becoming what it is today. So I'm excited today. We're going to dive into all of that, and I'm excited about what's to come. I have a feeling that HarperCollins seems like a really amazing home for me to be able to, to really manifest my conscious leadership book. So we'll see. Let me know if you guys want that. Nice to meet you, Sarah.
Nice to meet you. I wanted to get this.
Okay, cool. Yeah.
Sales conference.
Ooh, okay.
So
They gotta get
like
that.
big.
Yeah, sales. Sales. Gotta make that money.
Right.
Oh, nice. Do you know if the ETA is pretty much still like around the same?
Yeah, so he's just up at Union Square, so he's getting picked up at 9:15, so he'll probably be here a little bit before 9:45.
Oh, okay, good. All right, that's enough. Let's get ready to set up. What's up, Trent? Good, how are you? Nice to meet you, bro.
Nice to meet you, man.
Appreciate you, bro.
No problem. No problem. Man.
Really, seriously, I appreciate you, man. The work that you're doing in the world.
Thank you, man.
It's like an honor, man. Like I've been doing, like really reading your book. I was on the plane here, like really diving in, and
Enjoying it?
Wow,
I appreciate it.
it's really powerful, man. And I just want to say, like, God bless, bro. What you're doing.
Thank you, man.
It's important.
Appreciate it, man. That's why I started it, man. So
It's
here,
really, really important.
getting confirmation from you is always like reassurance, man. I'm doing the right thing.
Yeah, for sure.
Appreciate it.
How was your day, man?
It was good, man.
Yeah.
Crazy busy, but I wouldn't have it any other way. Being able to share the purpose to the world. So, but it's been like tomorrow I'm back. So tonight I go back to Texas, there for a day. Then I'm back. Then I have to go to Minneapolis for an event Thursday. So it's kind of been my life for the last month. So appreciate you having me, man.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you for being here. So let's, like I really want to give people some context because I think the story is unbelievable. And, really your dream was to make it to the NFL. And you did. And that's what's crazy. But then it's like you get knocked down, right? All these different teams. And you still have this champion mindset of like, you're running faster than you ever ran. Like, you're making it, but then, it's like you said, you're like, and he says this NFL stands for not for long. And it's like, if there's like the poster child for that, you know what I mean? What was that like for you? How were you able to kind of stay like strong with your mindset of like, you know what, no matter what, like I can continue to keep pushing forward. And then when you finally hit rock bottom for you and you get the injury and you feel like your childhood dream is starting to, come crashing down.
Yeah.
What was that like for you?
It was hard. So the first part, like as far as just that mindset of like perseverance, because I had no other choice. Like it was no other option for me. And a lot of athletes, they feel that because school is school, but you don't go to school with the mindset, oh, I'm going to be a business. You're taught. Let me say taught, but you're influenced a lot to like, this is it. You never think about even life after sports. Even if it's a 16-year career, you think you can live off that forever. So for me, there was no other option. And a lot of NFL players or professional athletes probably can attest to this. It's like the higher you go, the more love you lose for the game, because it becomes about business and politics, and it becomes all about the things that, when you're a kid, you're just out there having fun. You don't care about none of that. But then it's like, you could perform your best. Like when I was in Indianapolis, like I was balling out, and it's not just me saying it because it's me, like it's facts. Like I was top receiver in the preseason for rookies in the NFL. Like I was killing it. I was, starting on special teams, so I was like, I'm gonna make the team. And then a veteran told me, his name is Crefonso Thorpe. He played at Florida State, played with the Colts, and he told me, and I'll never forget this. He said, man, I've been down this road so many times before. He's like, there's times when I played my best and got cut. And he's like, there's times where I played like average and made the team. He was like, it comes down to whatever you want to call it, luck, faith, the business standpoint. And so with Indy, they had drafted 2 receivers that year. Anthony Gonzalez was #1 pick, and Roy Hall was a #5 pick, which are both great guys, great players. But I knew that my chances of like making the team over those guys, even if I played better, wasn't gonna happen because they invested millions of dollars into those guys, And so that's what happened, man. I balled out, I got cut, and I'm just like, okay, what do I do now? So they practice squatted me, put me on practice squad, and I was like, okay, cool. They gave me the promise, like, we're gonna put you on practice squad, we're gonna develop you, we really like you. And I believed it because I was playing good.
Steps up again, throws it deep, Shelton's got it, touchdown!
2 weeks into me being in Indianapolis, you know, I go buy a car, I do all these things. I'm thinking like I made it, I'm good, you know? And at that time, you know, getting paid $80,000 a year coming out of college, like I'm thinking I'm rich, you know? I'm like, I'm good. So I go buy a car, buy all these things to, as I call IOPs, impressing other people, right?
I like
so I bought all these IOPs to impress other people, to show people I made it. And 2 weeks there, I get a call and I get released. And so now I'm driving all the way back home from Indy to Texas. I just got an apartment. Luckily, my friend Melvin made the team, so he just took over the apartment. Like, thank for him, or else I would have had to get out at least. And that's hard, you know, when it comes to apartments. I'm back home, and I'm just painting this picture because this was my whole NFL career, basically. I'm back home, and I didn't want to go out because it's September, and if I go out in Fort Worth, not many people make it in the NFL, so everybody knows me. If I go out, why are you here? This is September. You're supposed to be in Indianapolis.
Wow.
So I just was in this
like shame?
Shame, guilt. I didn't want to face that reality. I didn't want to answer questions, none of that stuff. So I kept myself in my room in my mom's house. I rarely went out, and if I did go out, I was just late to the gym. I even worked out the gym like at 12 a.m. so nobody would see me there. And I would go work out, and then, you know, a week later, I get called back to Indy. And I stayed in Indy for the rest of the year. You read in the book where I had a chance to play. I got injured, didn't happen. And that's my whole NFL career.
That story of hearing about during your darkest moments, you never thought rehab time would even get to the point where it is now, reaching tens of millions of people on a weekly, monthly basis. And then there was that one story of Ashley. What was the moment that you recognized, like, you know, because you didn't think rehab time was going to become what it is today.
Yeah.
And that kind of led you to recognizing the purpose.
Yeah.
You know, what was that like?
So even with rehab time, you know, people know my story, know this, but a lot of people don't understand this. I didn't start rehab time for anybody else. It wasn't like, okay, I'm gonna start this organization and I'm gonna do X, Y, Z and touch people. Rehab time was for me. That was the same that meant mind, body, and soul, Trent, it's time to get right.
Hey, what's up, family? What's up, world? This is Rehab Time. My name is Trent Shelton. Rehab Time is a place where we get our mind, our body, our souls right. If this is your first time, thank you. If you know a friend, tell a friend if they need help. But in saying that, I'm not perfect, nor do I have all the answers. I just try to share a message. I try to share something that I know that might help somebody. As long as I help one person, I feel that my job is done.
And it wasn't for anybody else, so to see it where it is today is just truly incredible. But the moment that it's a lot of moments, but the one moment that always sticks out to me was when it was after a speaking engagement, a small one. Like, I was doing these things called live conversations. It'd be at a bar, it'd be at a house, wherever they had room for free, because I couldn't afford much. It was like, I'll come in there and bring a group of 20 people.
Yeah.
After this speaking engagement, this live conversation, this woman comes up to me and says, "You just don't know what you did for my life." And she says, "You went live one day," and I forgot the title. There was something about, don't give up on your life. She says, "I was getting on Facebook to actually write a post that was gonna, like, my final goodbyes. I was standing on a bridge." And I was like, "Really?" Like, Trent, she said, "Trent, I was standing on a bridge, about to jump off a bridge, and you went live. And some just told me to watch it, which I know is God. Watch this video, and you stopped me from jumping off a bridge that day, in that moment. So if you wouldn't have went live, I wouldn't be here. And I had kids that would have suffered." And so that moment made me realize, like, God is using me in a way that I don't even understand.
Make your tomorrow new. You always have a choice. Never stay silent about your battles. Give your pain a voice. It's okay to not be okay. We're all one struggle away. Your change is gonna come. You just keep believing day by day. This storm will eventually run out of rain. And remember, we are all a little broken. But the last time I checked, broken crayons still color the same. You go defeat your pain. Your life is not over. It's just beginning. It's rehab time. Let's get it.
When I don't consider myself an expert or a guru. Like, I don't care about none of those things, right? But it's just like, when people come to me, it's like, "Man, like, your video helped change my life," or "Your video stopped me from doing this," or "helped my relationship." And I've gotten to a place where I don't try to understand it no more. I just allow God to use me, and I just allow myself to be real and transparent and come from the heart. And I allow God to take that message wherever He wants to take it and do with it.
A vessel.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly, man.
I love it. And I'm sure you've had countless people like this that are going through this, right? I think for the second part of the interview, why don't we move into the conference room, and that way we can also get into a different energy, not feel like we're, you know what I'm saying?
Cool. Let's do it.
Ah, man, I was third string, bro.
You fast though?
Huh?
You was fast.
Yeah, I was fast.
Move,
I was fast. I loved it. You know, for me, it was like, believe it or not, for me, it was about hyping up the team in the locker room.
Yeah.
You know, like even though I was third string, and I would love like the fact that I was helping in practice, you know, but I used to get beat up on, man, you know? So wanted to kind of like switch it up for a second. But how do you handle the pressure? Like the pressure of knowing that like you have the ability to, by putting out this video now, like you can save a life.
Yeah.
And the pressure of like, so now there is pressure of having to show up.
Yep.
Right? And for me, how much does that connect to a process so that you can protect your peace, but you have a process to really master your time efficiently, but still being able to make sure that you're mastering your routine or your time to live your purpose, but also making sure that you're protecting your peace, your own energy, family time,
right.
You know, your own well-being.
I had to start living really intentional. I feel like when you live an intentional life, you lead life. And I talk about this process that a lot of people love. I call it the protect your peace process, but it's 4 A's. And most people have their morning routines, and I know it's like everybody has one. And I'm gonna be real, like I don't do it every day. And the days that I don't do it, I feel it. But I try my best to live by this because it helps my day. So the first A is appreciation. I make sure I wake up with appreciation and gratitude. You can look at the stats, 55 million people die a year. You know, 150,000 people a night die. And that's crazy to me. So I'm just thankful for my life, thankful for my breath, everything like that. Second thing is affection. A hug a day keeps depression away. Like there's science behind humans hugging. And what I do is
I'm glad I gave you a hug.
Yeah, there you go, man. There you go. And then the third thing is accomplishment. I make sure I set up a small win. And that win doesn't have to be anything that deals with, you know, my quote unquote purpose. It could be making my bed, washing dishes. You know, a lot of times it's even taking my son to school. That's what I do. That's my win for the morning to talk to him. And how you start your day will influence your day, right? And then the fourth thing is activity. Obviously working out, you know, releasing those endorphins. Movement influences mood. So if you're feeling down, go for a run, go for a walk, get out in nature. I'm a hiker. Nature heals. I feel like nature is God's natural medicine for the soul.
Yes,
and
nature is true luxury.
Yeah, big time. And so that's how I start my day. And so before 12 p.m., my family knows for the most part that it's me time. And I call it being not selfish, but practicing self-care. It's necessary because when I take care of myself, I'm a better Trent when I show up for my wife, when I show up for the world. When you come from a real place, like not a perfect place, but a real place, I promise you, you will connect to your audience every single time. You can have the most knowledge in the world, but if you're not coming from a real place where you really care about your audience, you're not gonna connect. And that's what I tell speakers all the time. People's like, oh, Trent, I'm nervous backstage. You know, I tell them, I say, you're being selfish. And they look at me like, I say, you're being selfish.
Wow.
And it's like, how am I being selfish? And I say, well, you're thinking about yourself. You're supposed to be in a place of servanthood.
Right, you should be excited to serve.
Yeah, you shouldn't be worried about being perfect, how I look, how I'm gonna sound.
I love that. That's powerful. One of the most important characteristics for me also is leadership. My father from like a really, really young age used to leave quotes around my home of just quotes of Martin Luther King or Marcus Aurelius or, you know, just powerful, powerful leaders. And it caused me to kind of really think about what being a leader means to me. And, you know, I wanted to kind of ask you, like, how do you tap into the leader within and what makes a great leader?
Yeah, so I think, you know, the birth of my son, just to kind of give a background, the birth of my son really shifted my life to leadership because I had no choice. Because I realized that even if I didn't want to be a leader, let me be clear, everybody watching this right now, you are a leader. Somebody somewhere at some time is watching what you do, period. You can be at the gym and I'm this crazy with it. Like I'll be on the treadmill and I know like if I'm gonna quit before I'm supposed to quit, I'm thinking I'm influencing somebody else to quit also. How many of you guys have been in a class where, even in college, where one person leaves, you're like, okay, well, I'm gonna leave too now. You know, it just, it works like that.
So true.
So you're a leader all the time and I'm conscious of that. But when it came to Tristan, I was like, okay, he's gonna follow my footsteps. And I'm not gonna give him some perfection thing that's not obtainable, but I'm gonna be real and teach him with my life. But I know what I say isn't as powerful as what I do. I have to be that example. And I'll even take it a step further. I was just running a half marathon. I'm not gonna get into this whole story, but I was running a half marathon and I got invited from some friends to do it. And I wasn't prepared to run a half marathon. I was in shape, but I wasn't in 13.2 mile shape. I go out there, I'm doing it, I'm killing it for the first 7, 8 miles, which I pretty much run 6 miles 3 times a week, so that was good. When I got to mile 10, my body like shut down. Yeah. I wanted to quit. I really did. And there were people out there that knew me and everything. So what I do is I go on live. I go on Facebook Live to hold myself accountable. I said, guys, I'm about to quit. Like, I had to come on here because I'm not gonna just quit, you know, and they're like, they're using all my quotes with me, like, it all starts with you, turn your pain into your power, Trent. Like, and so that like motivated me, man. It motivated me, but still, it wasn't enough. Like, that lasted for like 10 minutes. And then the last 2 miles, my wife texts me. It's like, we're at the finish line.
Ooh, your why.
Exactly. My wife texts me, we're at the finish line. My daughter and my son was there.
Yeah.
My daughter's 2, but my son, Tristan, is 10. The day before, Tristan ran the track meet, and he ran the 800. And I'm telling Tristan, I'm always telling him, man, you better not quit. Like, never throw in the towel. Don't bring a towel to throw in. Like, find a way. I don't care if you crawl past the finish line, find a way. When she sent that text, I said, I have to live it. If I quit, I'm telling Tristan to do something I'm telling him not to do something that I'm about to do. And I said, if I quit and I don't show up past that finish line, I am giving the example to my son that it's okay to quit when it gets hard. Listen, you tired?
Yeah.
I know you are, but I'm proud of you for putting in the work. I know you wanted to quit. I know you want to throw in the towel. You're like, man, why do I have to be out here? But you got a dream. You got a dream that a lot of people want. You want to make it to the NFL. You want to be a professional athlete. You know how many kids in the world want to be that? A lot of kids. You know how many people actually make that dream come true? Less than 1%. So you know what that means? You got to be willing to do what 99% of people won't do. And one of your goals is to be the fastest kid on your football team. And so you got to come out here. And the difference between most people is that they just dreaming and that's it. They fall in love with the dream and that's it. But they don't want to put in the work that it actually takes to make their dream come true. You know why? Because it's hard. Most people don't want to work hard. Most people in this world, grown adults too, they want it easy. They talk about, I want to be this or I want to do this with my life, but they don't want to put in the work that it actually takes. So I found a way, bro. Like, it energized me. I found a new burst of energy and I finished. And so when it comes to leadership, it's all about the example that you're putting out. It all starts with you first. Don't worry about preaching it so much. Don't worry about pushing somebody so much. Let it become a reflection of your life. And I promise you, it will become contagious to the people around you. And of course, you can give tactics and strategies. Those things are great. Being a teacher is a great part of being a leader. But the best part of being a leader is being the example, where people can look at you and say, wow, okay, I get it. I see that person putting in the work. He's not just preaching hard work. I see that person putting in the hard work. Oh, he's not just talking about faith. I see that person exercising faith. And so me and my wife have this conversation a lot. We can't tell our kids to eat healthy if we ain't eating healthy. You know, we can't tell our kids to clean up their room if our room isn't cleaned up. Right. Like, we have to make sure that it starts with us. So I think leadership is all about, it all starts with you.
All right, let's go.
Jaywalking on them. Jaywalking. Yeah. It's Trent Shelton, rehab time.
Yeah, let's get it. So you say New York is kind of a bittersweet place for me because with my relationship, she lived here. And so I spent time like right over here by the old World Trade. So and I spent a lot of time in New York. And, you know, when that whole situation happened, you know, with me getting my wife now Maria pregnant, and during that situation, it was hard, man. Like,
what a wake-up call
it was. I mean, it was arguments. I mean, I was walking around. Of course, it didn't look like this, but down here, like, what am I doing in my life? Trying to figure stuff out. So when I come back to New York, it's always just like, it's a powerful feeling because I realize how much I've grown as a man. Right. You know what I'm saying? So now those conversations are different, and everything we go through, even though I put myself through that, if you just accept it, you own it, you know, you're not shy to talk about it, you can use that to build you to be a better person.
So I was wondering, you think you got a spoken word? You think you could do one?
Yeah, I mean, I can do one I can do one.
Okay.
Yeah.
You have one in mind, or?
Yeah, I got one.
You
Yeah,
got
for
one?
sure.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, I definitely can do it.
Fire.
Just because your path is lonely doesn't mean your path is wrong. Everybody won't be willing to grow to where you want to go. Everybody won't make it to your next level because everybody won't be willing to sacrifice what it takes to create greatness. So unfortunately, the ones that started with you might not finish with you. The ones that had your back might turn their back. But you can't allow who left you to keep you from your best you. You can't allow what left your life to stop your life. In order to move up, there's some things you must be willing to give up. In order to get ahead, there's some things you must be willing to leave behind. Holding on to your limitations won't help you reach new destinations. Carrying dead weight won't help you be great. Never let the fear of losing people cause you to lose yourself. This is your journey. It's not about perfection, but progression. It's not about being perfect, it's about becoming better. I'm gonna be real with you. Struggle is a part of it. Losses are a part of it. Setbacks are a part of it. Sometimes you have to go through your worst just to become your best. Sometimes you gotta lose everything just to gain everything. Don't let it discourage you, let it encourage you. You'll never get to your success by skipping the process. You'll never grow without growing pains. The valley might be ugly, but I promise you this, the peak is beautiful. So never stop climbing, because the only way it works is if you work. The only way you progress is if you proceed. Don't give up on you because they gave up on you. Don't stop believing in you because they stopped believing in you. What they think should never influence what you know. How they feel about you should never change how you feel about yourself. The battle was not with them, the battle was within. Your competition is nobody else. So that means can't nobody defeat you except yourself. Can't nobody stop you without your permission. Losers focus on winners and winners focus on winning. So you keep your eyes on the prize. You rise above the lies. You rise above the fake. You rise above the hate. You rise above anything or anyone that's in your way that's trying to prevent you from being great. Never back down, even when your back's against the wall. It matters how many times you get back up, not how many times you fall. It's about your mentality. What's the point of dreaming a dream if you're not working to turn that dream into reality? So speak life into your life. Be your own motivation. A legend is just an ordinary person with extraordinary determination. So find a way and make one. At the end, you just regret the chance you didn't take. So find the courage to take one. Your only limit is you. Don't surrender to your struggle. Make that struggle surrender to you. Listen, pain is temporary, but giving up is forever. Never be good with good enough when you know inside you lives someone better. You didn't come this far just to settle. You didn't come this far just to accept whatever. You came this far to take it to your next level. You came this far to become something greater. And what makes it even more special is that you didn't depend on favors, is that you did it with plenty haters. But as you can see, nobody can stop your life when your life is highly favored. So for your dreams, for your passion, for your family, for whatever, don't you ever stop working. And always remember this, when the destination is worth reaching, the path won't always be perfect. Like I said in every single video, it all starts with you. It's rehab time. Let's get it.
Woo! Chills, bro. Wow. Oh, man, that's so powerful, bro.
Hey,
wow.
appreciate it, man. Appreciate it, brother.
Wow. It's so amazing, man. So what advice would you give someone that, genuinely right now feels like, who they're surrounding themselves with, whether it's a relationship they're in or friendship or job that they're in, is no longer serving them?
Right.
How do you go about
So
burning that bridge?
the thing that I would tell people, if you know you have to burn a bridge and you know it because it's not leading you to the greatest you, but a lesser you, have honest, real communication with that person and tell them the reason why. And so what I did with some of my friends, I'm like, hey, bro, I love you. I got love for you, but I have a son and I can't continue to live this lifestyle no more.
Right, the partying, drinking.
I can't continue to do this and I have to grow my mindset. And so anyways, you have the conversation, you tell them, listen, where I'm trying to go, this is an invitation for you to come with me. We can take this journey together, but I'm telling you, I'm not postponing my life just to please you. I'm not gonna stay in this bad situation or this situation of average, that not growing my life for anybody, because I refuse to get to my end of my life. And I don't know if you know this, the number one human regret when people die is that they regret living their life for other people in a negative way. Living their life for opinions and not living their lives for themselves. That's the number one regret. So I refuse to have that regret.
A lot of people end up having that regret by the last moment, the last breath. And then they're like, man, all the decisions I've made in my life, the choices, were never truly what I wanted. It was always trying to please other people.
And it's the value of time, man. Like people, I know we we're so used to time, we don't understand it because we've always had it since we were born.
Plus, it also made up, like as humans, we made up Monday, Tuesday, a calendar, all these things, right? But it's like, we really don't have time. Like, we could be gone today, tomorrow. Like, we don't know. We really don't have that.
I'll tell you something that's going to blow your mind, man. And my friend told me this, and it was the simplest thing, but it was so true. He told me, how old are you? And I was like, I think I was like 32 at the time. I was like, I'm 32. And I was like, I'm getting old. And he was like, he laughed. He's like, you're not old at all. Right. He's like, you're 32. And I was like, well, what am I, young? He's like, you're not young at all. He says, the problem with most people is that they judge how old or young they are by their birthday instead of their death date. He said, you can be 32, but you can be dying at 34. You're very old. He said, you can be 68, but you can die at 100. You're very young. He said, you never know how much time you have left, so realize that.
So you have a proverb that is so important to you, newfound life. I would like to read it. Jeremiah 29:11, it says, for I know the plans I have for you, declares the Lord. Plans to prosper you and not to harm you. Plans to give you hope and a future.
That's right. Man, so the backstory with Jeremiah 29:11 was, so my mom, when I made it to the NFL, for my gift, she gave me a Bible. And this Bible it was cool because it had this like football like cover. So it's made of football, and on the cover it had NFL.
Wow. Yeah, right.
And it said newfound life. And so when she gave it to me inside, she said, I want you to always stand on Jeremiah 29:11. And I've always been in my word, but I've never really I never really stumbled across that verse. And so when she gave it to me, it meant a lot, but it didn't have the meaning that it had once I started getting released and cut. I always went back to that scripture to know God has a plan for my life, right? Not to fail me, even though I was experiencing failure, even though I was experiencing setbacks. But what I was doing, I was looking at life through my lens, right? Instead of God's lens. And so when I realized, like, wait a minute, God has something bigger for me. Even though this is what I want to do, he has something bigger for my life. And I held on to that. So I thought NFL, that newfound life was the Indianapolis Colts. But really, it was rehab time. And I didn't know that until 3 years later after I got cut and released. And so that meaning of newfound life, man, means everything. And that newfound life could be the direct opposite of the life that you think is really for you.
Powerful. Oh, wow.
This is crazy, bro. Like this is crazy because it's like, this is like super full circle right now. Like being out here, like, man, it's crazy. So like in that book, that chapter.
Take it in for a moment, right?
Man, because literally I came out here when I was going through that battle and struggle. It's crazy you even decided to come out here, bro. Like this is nothing but a God moment. I came out here and I was walking around, bro, because I didn't know what I was gonna do with my life at all. Because I'm like, man, I have, now I have a woman pregnant, which Maria, obviously now, but at that time, Maria wasn't my girlfriend. I was in a relationship. I was like, man, what am I gonna do? How am I gonna tell my mom? I actually left the apartment right over there and I said, I gotta get away. And I walked around here. I remember just saying a prayer like, God, I'm sorry for, what I've done, because it's necessarily not me. But it's like once I just surrendered to him and I asked for forgiveness, obviously, I'm not gonna say that decision was the greatest decision of my life, but once I decided to own it, Tristan changed my life forever. Like what I thought was not him, but the pregnancy, what I thought was a disappointment was God was simply my biggest rescue.
Wow.
In my life.
Yeah.
And so even though that situation in my past relationship didn't work out, it brought me to where I am now. So I want to just tell you this, like if you make mistakes, you're not a mistake, own up to it. We're all human. And I know sometimes you feel like anxiety, like what am I gonna do in my life? Just realize there's always a bigger picture. There's always a purpose greater than the pain, but you have to own it. You have to accept it. You have to face that reality, right? You have to face it because you'll never win your war by running from your battles. And so me being out here is a moment because like I said, I was here, 10 years ago, 11 years ago, however long that was, lost and confused and not knowing what I was gonna do in my life.
Whew.
Your current situation is not your final destination. You can turn that pain into power. You're looking at two guys that went through a lot in their life. I don't know Gerard's whole story, but I know you've been through a lot. I've been through a lot. Like I said, I'm in the moment where this was the most painful moment for me at some point in my life. Right. But I decided to turn that pain into my power. Now, millions of people, or even if it's just one person,
got affected by the things that I was going through. You'll never change your situation by killing yourself, but giving yourself another chance to hope for tomorrow, hope for a better day. And I promise you, just because you have some bad chapters doesn't mean your story can't end well. You're one choice away from turning the page and one commitment away from your life becoming a new life. All right, think about that for a second. Do not give up on yourself, because everything you're going through is making you a better you, and it's an advantage. It's an advantage. Some of you have stories that you can impact way more people, are way more better stories than me. But you have to own that story and say, you know what? I'm not gonna use this to break me. I'm not gonna use this to make me feel sorry for myself. I'm gonna use this not only to better my life, but to better the lives of others. And as long as you're bringing healing to other people and your life becomes bigger than you, you will never quit. And if you're feeling suicidal in this moment, the thing I would tell you to do right now is to go bring value to someone. Because when you're feeling suicidal, trust me, I've been there. You feel like you have nothing inside you to give. That's a lie. You can go outside right now, call somebody, text somebody, go to the store, go tell somebody how incredible they are. Watch them light up. And what that is showing you is that you have value to give. You're valuable, you're just not being able to see it because you're keeping yourself sheltered in. All right, what you suppress will turn into depression. So give your pain a voice and change the world.
Where can we toss? I would love to have a quick toss. All right, Trent, let me get you one.
Yeah, let me see if I can, my pants don't fall down.
Oh, yeah! Touchdown, baby! Yeah! I had to make you go for that.
Yeah, that's the ones you want, though.
Yeah,
you catch it in stride, bring it in.
Exactly. Oh, man, that's cool. How often do you play with your son?
A few times a week.
Yeah?
So I coach, I help coach their football team.
Oh, you do?
Yeah, so we're training now, especially like since he's 10. My thing was, I didn't want to start him too early. And so now he really wants to turn up. So we like pretty much got to catch 100 balls a day, whether it's in the house, and then we go outside, work on some routes.
Do you have anything with him that's like a challenge, basically, like challenges with him?
Yeah. Well, I have, so I teach him that it's a job. And so I pay him.
Oh, you do?
Yeah, so
okay.
if he scores, and I pay him more for the little things. Like, so of course, anybody will want to score a touchdown.
Yeah.
So he has to pay me. I think I get like $10 for every touchdown. But if he makes a block for his teammate or he makes a tackle, like it's times 3.
Woo!
And so I teach him like to put emphasis on the small things that will separate him. Because anybody wants to catch a pass, anybody wants to catch a touchdown. That's easy. But when you start to get good at the little things that, you know, even how he breaks the huddle, energy, we'll watch the whole game and see, okay, you didn't have no loafs, right? Or not going hard loafs is the football term, right? You don't have no loafs. Okay, cool, here's a bonus. Because you focus on what you can control. If you go out there and give your all, then that's what I care about. You know, you can't control sometimes the play getting called or the receiver throwing you the ball, but you can control blocking somebody, you can control how fast you play, and that's life, you know? So I'm just teaching them life lessons that, like, you know, most parents would be like, oh, I'm gonna reward him for touchdowns. And I think a lot of times, of course, we want our kids to score. That's my child, but I wanna reward them for the things, the small things that a lot of people don't look at, because college coaches look at those small things. They wanna see what you're doing when you're not getting the ball.
Even probably when you're not even playing.
Exactly, how you're on the sideline, you cheering for your teammates.
Right.
All of that, man. So I'm big on all those little small things, because when you get good at the small things, the big things are happening.
All right, it's a wrap. We just finished up with the one and only Trent Shelton. You guys, there's so many takeaways in this episode. I want you guys to make sure you watch this. Watch it 2-3 times to really tap into the intelligence and the wisdom and the positivity and the lessons that Trent shared. Also, pick up his book. I absolutely loved the book. I highly recommend that you pick it up. Make sure you subscribe, like, comment. You know, let Trenton know what you love most about this episode. And if you guys want an opportunity, we have a signed football and 2 signed books, and an opportunity for you to be able to get on a 10-minute conversation with Trent and I. So we'll be launching that giveaway. To find out details, look at the description. And thank you again for watching another episode of Leaders Create Leaders. Until next time, go out there and lead from within.